Royals own me. Harry owes me. Meghan owes me. Hide out, and because the hotel would have been found out, I would have been found, and the press would have been everywhere. Watching whatever differences or problems we had, that we should be able to work them out. We're family. So please reach out.
Picture this. Your daughter's getting married. Not just any wedding, but the royal wedding. The kind the whole planet's talking about. Millions of people glued to their screens crying over the fairy tale. And you're not even invited. No call. No, hey dad. No explanation. Just silence. Now imagine you're that father, sitting in your quiet house, checking your mailbox every single day. You keep waiting for that fancy envelope with the royal seal, the one that's supposed to change everything. You picture it, right? Walking your little girl down the aisle, that proud father moment every dad dreams of since the day she's born, except it never comes.
Imagine this. You're Meghan Markle, waking up in your Montecito mansion, birds chirping, sunshine.
That royal invitation never shows up. Nothing. Just one weird, awkward comment over the phone. Something about how it must have gotten lost in the mail. Sure, lost in the mail. That's when the perfect fairy tale starts cracking apart like cheap glass. Because Thomas Markle, Meghan's dad, doesn't buy it for a second. He's convinced this wasn't some mailroom mix-up. Nope. He believes his own daughter and her mother cut him out deliberately, that they rewrote the whole story, and fed the world a glossy version of events everyone wanted to believe.
Always begins the same way, with whispers. For years, Meghan Markle's name floated in quiet corners of conversation.
And what Thomas is about to reveal? Oh, it'll make you question everything you thought you knew about that royal wedding. But before we dive into this emotional roller coaster, you might as well hit that subscribe button. Because what's coming next? It's wild, it's messy, it's royal drama on steroids. And if you think you can handle the truth, go ahead and smash that like button right now. Now here's where things get seriously interesting. Before Meghan Markle ever set foot inside a palace, before tiaras and tabloid wars, Thomas says she'd already lived about 10 different versions of herself.
Meghan Markle's dishwashing liquid lie has finally been exposed.
And Thomas? He saw it all, up close. He says his daughter figured out early on how to reinvent herself. Not just changing her hair color or style, but changing who she was, to fit whatever world she stepped into. And here's the shocking part. During all those school years, Meghan's teachers, they never met her mom, not once. No parent-teacher conferences, no school plays, no graduation events, none of it.
For those of my parsnips who didn't know, apparently there was a earthquake.
It was always Thomas showing up, Thomas signing the forms, Thomas being the parent in the room. So when Doria, Meghan's mom, finally appeared at her high school graduation, jaws dropped. People weren't just surprised, they were shook. Why? Because nobody in that entire school even knew Meghan's mom was black. Let that sink in for a second. Years of school, years of friendships, teachers watching this girl grow up, and not one single person knew half her heritage. That doesn't just happen.
Now, with Thomas Markle hinting that she shaved off several years, it's all starting to make sense.
You're doing great.
For all those years, Meghan let everyone assume she was Italian. She'd casually drop Malta into conversations, talk about her olive skin, that exotic look. Race never came up, not because she denied it, but because she just never corrected anyone. People filled in the blanks on their own, and apparently, everyone filled them the same way. Thomas remembers that graduation day like it was yesterday. People whispering, glancing, doing double takes.
That comes out of this woman's mouth is just garbage.
Fans have been connecting dots like they're running a true crime podcast.
You could practically hear the room thinking, wait, that's her mom? Confused faces everywhere. Nobody dared to say it out loud. Too awkward. But the shock was written all over them. Here was an entire side of Meghan's identity that had been hidden in plain sight, not locked away in shame, but never spoken, never visible. And then, years later, Meghan's standing on the world stage, being hailed as the mixed-race Duchess, the barrier-breaking woman of color marrying into the most traditional royal family on earth.
I have no problem facing her in court and disputing what she has to say.
Career-defining, yet
The first of her kind, a symbol of diversity, a modern fairy tale. The world ate it up, and yet this was the same woman who, for years, let everyone believe she was something else entirely. Now look, you could say, well, that's just personal growth. People change, right? Maybe she found herself. Maybe she embraced her roots later in life. But Thomas? Oh no, he doesn't see it that way.
Disrespected Queen Elizabeth from the get-go. She mocked the Queen. She came into the royal family and thought she owned the place.
And it doesn't help.
Thomas swears this wasn't about discovery, it was about strategy. He thinks Meghan learned early that identity is a game, and if you play it right, you can win big. She wasn't manipulating people out of malice. It was survival. It was skill. She could walk into any room, read it in seconds, and become exactly who everyone needed her to be. Hollywood wanted an ambiguous beauty who could fit anywhere. She gave them that look, mysterious, flexible, marketable. Then the royal family wanted diversity, modernity, a symbol of progress. And boom, she gave them that too.
The title, she branded it. There's Duchess of Sussex merch. Her full name is now...
Thomas says watching it all was like seeing someone build a tower of mirrors. From every angle, it looked beautiful, flawless, believable. But mirrors? They only reflect what you're supposed to see. You never get to see what's holding them up. The Meghan he remembers wasn't born cunning or cruel. She was a little girl who hated being ordinary. She wanted to be special.
Prince Harry will not make Meghan Markle a billionaire. She wants to be a billionaire, so who will? A new man. At some point, if it's offered up, it may.
And honestly, who doesn't? Every kid wants to shine. But somewhere along the way, between childhood auditions and Hollywood red carpets, Meghan realized something powerful. The truth can hold you back. The truth has limits. It's messy. It makes people see you a certain way. So she learned to set pieces of it down. Not all at once, but slowly. One truth here, one detail there, until she built something shinier.
Thomas Markle just broke his silence, revealing shocking secrets about Meghan that nobody saw coming. In a stunning move.
That's when the double life began. Not the sneaky, scandalous kind. This was subtler. It was about image, about controlling what people saw and what they didn't. Because in Meghan's world, what matters isn't what's real, it's what looks real. Thomas says there was always a gap between the daughter he raised and the woman the world saw. The cameras could never catch it, because they were never meant to. And if there's one name that always makes Thomas's voice tighten, it's Doria Ragland. He doesn't hurl accusations, he doesn't scream conspiracy, but he can't shake how the puzzle pieces don't fit. During Meghan's school years, Doria wasn't around. Not because she was working nonstop or living far away. She just wasn't there. No one really talked about it. She just faded from the picture. Then one day in the mid-1990s, Doria reappears. But when she does, her life's in shambles. She's living in public housing. A few years later, she's evicted. And okay, that happens. Life's hard. People struggle. But then, right after the eviction, something tragic and strange happens. Doria's father dies. Official story? An accident. Police say he tripped while walking his dogs. Case closed. But Thomas says something doesn't add up, because here's the thing. Doria was the only person there, the only witness. And when Thomas learned the details, they haunted him. The injuries didn't match a simple fall. He fell on grass, not pavement, and yet he was bleeding heavily, like he'd hit something sharp. How does that happen? Thomas can't stop thinking about it. It nags him, eats at him. And then there's the part that really sends chills down his spine. Doria kept the dog leashes, the ones that supposedly caused the fall. Who does that? Most people would throw them out. Can't bear the memory. But she kept them, like a souvenir. And when Thomas talks about it, you can see the fear in his eyes. He doesn't say the words, but you can hear what he's thinking. He once said, "Doria's capable of doing very nasty things." Let that sink in. When a father talks about his daughter's mother like that, you know something deep and dark is sitting underneath. He's even said out loud, "I know they want me gone." This isn't some wild paranoia. This is a man genuinely afraid, a father who's seen too much and can't unsee it. Years earlier, Meghan's first husband, Trevor Engelson, said the exact same thing. Before their Jamaican wedding, Trevor promised Meghan, "You'll finally have the family you never had." Two different men, years apart, saying the exact same words. Coincidence? Please. In both cases, Meghan let them believe she had no family. And what's wild? Thomas was alive both times, right there, ready to be in her life. But both men had no idea he existed. How do you erase your own father so completely that your husband doesn't even know he's real? Thomas sees the pattern, the narrative. Because when you tell people you're alone, they feel sorry for you. They protect you. They don't ask questions. They root for you. In Meghan's world, Thomas went from devoted father to estranged man who never understood her journey. The headlines did the rest. Meanwhile, Doria became the saintly, supportive parent, the only one who mattered. Can you imagine being that father? Watching the world believe you were never there when you were there for everything? You paid for her education. You drove her to auditions. You did the everyday, unglamorous parent stuff. And now you're a ghost in her story. When she married Trevor, private legal wedding, public beach ceremony. When she married Harry, public royal wedding, private story, full of secrets and silences. And when it came to her parents, public fairy tale of a loving mom, private reality of a father erased from existence. Every step, every reinvention, every photo op, perfectly timed. Why would someone go to such lengths to rewrite reality? Thomas says it's simple. Power. When you control the story, you control perception. And perception, that's currency, especially in Hollywood, and especially in the royal world. If the world believes you've got no family, they sympathize. They root for you. You become the underdog, the survivor. And if anyone from your real life speaks up, they're dismissed as toxic, jealous, problematic. It's the perfect shield. Thomas admits he's seen the pattern play out too many times to ignore it. First with Trevor, then with Harry. Two men convinced they were rescuing Meghan from loneliness. Both told, "You're the family I never had." Both completely unaware there was a real father sitting somewhere watching from the sidelines. He wonders if Harry ever stops to think about that. If he's ever asked himself why a woman with no family could so easily cut off the one she actually had. But maybe that's the point. The story only works if the father doesn't exist. The truth is, Thomas isn't out for revenge. He's not trying to ruin Meghan's life. What breaks him is how easy it was for the world to believe the lie. Years of love, sacrifice, and parenting, gone in a few headlines. People say time heals, but for Thomas, time only made the silence louder. He still checks his mailbox sometimes, out of habit. Still wonders what would have happened if that invitation had come. Would he have walked her down the aisle? Would it have changed anything? He doubts it, because the story had already been written, and it didn't have room for him. Thomas says there are truths too heavy to reveal. Secrets he's keeping until he's gone. Things that, if spoken now, would ignite a storm he's not ready to face. And that's the most haunting part. What kind of truth is so dark that a father can't say it out loud? Who's he protecting? Himself? His daughter? Or the entire illusion that's still keeping that fairy tale afloat? Because let's be honest, the world wanted to believe the Meghan Markle story, the outsider who found love, who broke barriers, who changed the monarchy. It was too beautiful to question. Nobody wanted to look at the cracks, because that would ruin the dream. But the truth? It doesn't disappear just because people stop asking. It sits quietly, waiting. And Thomas Markle, the man erased from his daughter's royal story, says those truths will eventually come out. Maybe not today, maybe not while he's alive, but one day someone will dig deep enough and the shadows will start to shrink, because the brightest fairy tales, they cast the darkest shadows, and in those shadows, that's where the real Meghan Markle story lives. So what do you think? Was Thomas Markle deliberately erased from his daughter's life? Or is he just a broken father who can't let go of the past? Whatever the truth is, it's clear one thing's for sure. Sometimes the prettiest lies are built on the most painful truths. And the price of a perfect story? Sometimes it's family.